Hi everyone, my name is Tony Willay and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing our news show, QliQ, and I hope you're excited. We have a lot of news to cover. This is my little show where I choose 3 articles to go over with you, and we just basically talk about it and see what you think. Our first topic today is going to be Ubisoft, and I've got 2 articles for them because they've been in the news quite a bit. The first one says that Ubisoft holds firm that the Crew lawsuit, you don't own your video game. So basically what they did was they have an old game that was nothing but multiplayer, and they shut down the game and they said that you don't own it because the servers and things like that weren't allowed to be kept up. So throughout this, what ends up happening is some people filed lawsuits against them due to California's law, for false advertising law, unfair competition law, and Consumer Legal Remedies Act, as well as common law fraud and breach of warranty from Ubisoft lawyers. That's what they were saying. The Crew is an open world racing game in 2014 and then shut down its servers a decade later in 2024 due to server infrastructure and licensing constraints. Because the Crew is an online only, it meant the game became totally unplayable when the servers were turned off. Now, Ubisoft did offer refunds, but you need to understand that when they did offer the refunds, a lot of the players actually didn't get the refund that they were supposed to. So it's kind of they didn't. So a lot of people were kind of pissed about that. Um, Now, what they describe is inadequate arguments, include response to a few pictures. The Crew game packaging presented to prove that the Ubisoft was labeled at least some of its versions with the licensing note. So basically, what Ubisoft is saying is that it's a license agreement that you're getting. You're not getting an actual game, which is kind of stupid. I mean, they're getting a game, but I can understand people wanting the refund and get the money back, but I don't know why Ubisoft wasn't getting the money to them, and they should have. Um, Now, Gavin Newsom signed a law bill into law in 2024 to force companies more prominently to display a note that consumers are buying a license and don't technically own the game itself. Okay. Now, on March 18th, the plaintiffs responded with an amendment complaint to address the issue brought up by Ubisoft and added an additional accusation that Ubisoft is breaking rules around the sales of gift certifications, something that argued the Crew's currency could be considered. That's the in-game currency inside the game that you buy, like microtransactions and things like that. Um, in in California, gift cards can't expire, and the argument is that Ubisoft broke the law, that the Crew was shut down, rendered the credits expired. The plaintiff's lawyer argued that the Crew currency system meets all the requirements to be considered a gift certificate or a gift card. That actually does make some sense. Um, Replying to Ubisoft's argument, the statute of limitations is up. The plaintiffs responded that they own photos of the Crew's packaging, which states the active code for the game doesn't expire until 2099. That's pretty far out. That's like Disney and copyright. Um, that's an example of how the Ubisoft implemented the Crew would remain playable during the time and long thereafter, per the amendment complaint. There was no reason to suggest the Crew was shut down, the lawyer said, until 2023 when the game was announced to be shut down. So the statute of limitations is up. Okay, so Ubisoft has until 2019 to respond again to the actual accusations. Um, this is pretty interesting stuff because it's basically like you buy a game that has multiplayer and you're supposedly own the game, but Ubisoft saying it's just a license they can term out. So if this ruling does go through on Ubisoft side, it's going to be considered more of is an actual multiplayer game like Call of Duty considered an actual game, or is it actually just considered a license at that point? Oh, you're giving them a license to play the shooting game, but nothing to play the actual systems. Like I get the servers shut down over decades. I don't know why they don't open it up to people that can just make their own servers and play the game that way. I'm actually shocked Ubisoft didn't go that route. Now another thing that Ubisoft has also done is recently they by accident did a patch. So Ubisoft frantically patches nudity back into Far Cry 4 after accidentally patching it out. So what basically the article kind of goes over is that they're thinking that there's 2 versions of Far Cry 4 and that they may have accidentally patched due to certain rules with certain companies overseas. Because there was a Japanese version of the game and there was a worldwide version of the game. And Ubisoft basically came through and said, well, they uploaded a patch. They ended up putting a bra on the main characters that have the breasts and the genitalia of one of the characters that was in flowable in view in Far Cry 4. Well, there was a second patch where they ended up fixing that, but I think that's funny. That's like, oh, we go in silently, accidentally do it. There's a little outrage. Modders find everything, so you can't stop modders. We find everything. You mess with the game and your engine and you update it, we're gonna know what you did. So it's kind of funny. And then they quietly patched the nudity back into the game, which is pretty funny. And finally, this is an interesting fact that I didn't realize that 58% of PC game revenue came from microtransactions in 2024. That is a lot of money just for microtransactions. Okay, PC gamers seem to have no problem with spending extra in their games. According to 2025 PC and console gaming report of Newzoo, 58% of gaming revenue came from microtransactions in 2024. The 58% are 24.4 billion, represented a 1.4 year-over-year annual growth in that area. Per the report, 3 games led the way for the growth of microtransaction revenue: Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Roblox, and Fortnite. But if it wasn't just microtransactions that rose revenue last year either, DLC, downloadable content revenue, has also saw a slight jump in 0.8% to 5.3 billion on PC. That accounted for 14% of all revenue thanks to DLC, Diablo 4, Elden Ring, and World of Warcraft. I never played World of Warcraft, so I can't really comment on that. I never played Elden Ring. I'm not interested in playing it because it's just not my type of game. And Diablo 4, I would probably play that game, but I don't want to be spending extra money on stuff. I can barely afford the games I have. When revenue fell to YOY for PC gaming with the premium games, while it made 28% of all revenue on the platform, the 10.7 billion was still a 2.6 drop from last year, from a year ago. In total, PC gaming revenue rose ever so slightly by 0.01% to 37.3 billion for 2024. When looking back 2 years to 2022, PC gaming revenue has risen 5.4 after a dip from 2021 to 2022. Looking forward, Newzoo projects rise up to 37.9 billion from 2025, and the PC Pacific revenue is a hit 40 billion by 2027. That's a lot of money just off microtransactions. And honestly, I hate microtransactions. I think they're ridiculous. I don't mind DLC like downloadable content, but microtransactions they suck. I actually hate them. They're very, very big in mobile phone game markets used to it by now. And then and when they first came out, because of Bethesda, yes, Bethesda helped with that horse armor shit, caused a lot of the controversy. So anyway, so what do you guys think? What do you guys think of Ubisoft's mistake? What do you think of their claim that you don't own a game? What do you think of the microtransactions that we PC gamers are constantly forking out our money to? Let me know in the comments down below. My name's Tony Willay. If you guys like my content, please go ahead, like, subscribe, click the little bell icon below to keep up to date. I'll be dropping videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this coming week. You'll be getting Let's Plays. You'll be getting my little news show. Reviews if I end up deciding to watch a show or an anime or something like that. I'll give you for the full season, and we'll go from there. Anyway, my name is Tony Willay. Thank you for the click, and I will see you next time.